This is the video review for Transformers Human Alliance Barricade. He is the Saline Custom Mustang police car. They do still call him Human Alliance on the package. I know some people have put forth Human Defiance and other various things for a Decepticon figure. They do still have Human Alliance on the package, so that's what I'm referring to him as. I do think Human Defiance is actually a good subline for the good sub-name for the Decepticon figures. But again, it's a Human Alliance Barricade is how it's packaged. That's how I'm doing the review. Again, he rolls quite well. I know some people think it's silly to show how it rolls, but some toys that turn into cars don't roll very well, so I like to show off that the ones that roll well do in fact have a good free rolling action. The doors can open, and you can see the seats inside there. And really, one of the most kibble-free or junk-free insides here. There's no gun part sticking up in between the seats or anything like some of the other figures have. Aside from there's a bunch of robot bits in the back part, but the front seat on this one actually fairly clean and looks like an actual inside of the car. Again, open the doors up. Now they all came with a human figure. You may well be wondering where his is. He comes with a little Frenzy figure, and Frenzy, much like in the movie, stores right in here. First, you want to come under here. I find it helps you flip these little guns out and then use it to pull this forward than trying to get under the actual back of it. But I'm going to flip these pieces out. Pull down the front of the car there, the grill. Fold these pieces down like that. You can kind of rotate them down. It helps get these little tabs out of the way. Lift up the hood and fold that piece up just to get in here, and then right inside the hood there, pull out a little Frenzy. I'll go ahead and put these pieces back in place for the time being. And we'll take a minute to focus on Frenzy. Now, Frenzy does not turn into a stereo like he did in the movie. He just kind of folds up into a little compact bit to fit inside of Barricade. His face. Yeah. I guess it was focusing okay on that. There we go. But basically, to transform him, you just want to unpeg his arms from his feet. Flip his feet down like this. Bring his arms around. Rotate his torso down and bring his head forward. And there you have Frenzy in... How do I keep doing that? Frenzy in robot mode. And it takes a little bit of fiddling to get him to stand, but he does stand on his own fairly well once you get his legs once you get everything adjusted properly. He can be knocked over, but like a good shake. He wobbles, but he doesn't fall. Most of him, like his head, his arms, his legs, are all a softer rubbery plastic. The torso and the waist piece are both a harder grayish silver plastic. He does have a swivel joint. Actually looks like a ball joint to the shoulder, and then a hinge joint here on the outside of his shoulder. You can kind of see that assembly there. Same thing on his hips here. A ball joint up into or at least a twistable joint up into the hip area, and then a hinge joint. And then again, the same thing, a hinge joint at the knee that can also rotate. And again, his head can kind of move back and forth, up and down, although that's mostly a transformation thing. And I really like Frenzy. We'll get into some flaws I have with Barricade once we transform him here. But for the little Frenzy figure, almost worth the price alone. Maybe not, but I really like this little Frenzy guy. Very nice little play-withable Frenzy. He does have red eyes instead of blue. Some people have made an issue of that. It doesn't bug me so much. Decepticons have red eyes. And the little figure itself is pretty cool for what you get. Definitely better than most of the human figures that have come with the other figures so far. Of course, that kind of is helped by the fact that he didn't have to look human, he just has to look like Frenzy. But anyway, that's him. I really like this guy a lot. On to Barricade. Like I said, in car mode, very excellent car mode. I really do like his vehicle mode a lot. And it's faithful, more or less, to the actual movie. He does have the Punish and Enslave, and his license plate says 2PN SLV for, again, making a reference to that Punish and Enslave logo on the side of the car. Transformation, once you have the doors open, you just want to keep them open. And much like the deluxe toy, you got to pull the whole side of this thing comes up. And up. And again, pull it out and up like that. Go ahead and fold the seats down, just like that. And from there, you want to come back here and unpeg the roof from the back of the legs. And you take this whole leg assembly, and there's a little silver tab right up in here that's going to plug into a slot here on this piece. You just bring that forward and snap it in. This piece doesn't connect yet, but we'll get to that later. You want to come around, bring the legs down, and down and around like that. Separate them. And then you can bring the lower legs even further down. Straighten out the feet, bring the lower legs down. Then you want to rotate the feet around. As you rotate them around, you'll see this little spike on the front of his foot pops up automatically. It pops up and goes down automatically as you transform him. Bring him around, then flip out the little side panel of the foot. And do the same over on this side. And then these panels, these back panels of the car, you want to take this where it says 643 over here. It's this little outer panel. Pull it up and rotate it around to the knee. And there's also some little armor flaps here on the waist that you can fold out at an angle. You know, you'd have them stick straight out, but I don't know why. But you can fold out at an angle however you wish, and get them to stand. You kind of have a gear walk mode there for the car, or whatever. Then you want to take the arms and rotate them down like this, and then you're going to take these shoulder joints here and actually rotate them up until they click into place up here, just like that. And then same on the other side. And then bring the arms down. You can go ahead and close these doors now. And again, you have to pull them down. You have to slide them forward to get them to close all the way. I'll bring those down, just like that. And then this piece, you want to pull this piece all the way up like that. And then you actually want to pull it back, and that allows you to flip up his head. And then you can just push this back up here until it clicks into place. Take these panels and rotate them out. Gives them kind of little pylons there on the side of his head. And then on this arm, you want to this panel should not be folded down yet. You want to flip out his hand here. You can adjust his thumb, and his fingers are adjustable. You want to push this wheel in. I don't know why, but the instructions say push that wheel in at an angle, and then fold this panel up. And then this arm over here, his gas cap, actually, if you push the button on his gas cap, flips out the mace right there. And then you can take the mace, and like these middle pieces are fixed in place, but on the outside, the two outsides, you angle out, flip it around, then flip, just kind of squeeze them out all the way to their angle, and you've got like his little spitting mace thing. And then you can also fold that panel up. It looks a little silly. Again, he's only got one hand. For some reason, I don't mind the one hand thing on him so much as I did on Bumblebee, and you'll see in a minute I did modify that Bumblebee to have a second hand. And it does spin very well. And also I found that with all the black down here, if you don't really like that mace hand, just fold it all back up and pop it into place. And really, you can kind of display them like that, and it's not super noticeable that there's no hand on that side. You can just have them look like that. So it's up to you. I'm not a huge fan of that mace hand. I think the gimmick could have been done a little better, and I think they still could have found a way to have that wheel pop out and still maybe have a flip-outable hand over here. But yeah, that's how they designed it. I'm not going to argue so much with them. Okay, we're not quite done yet. Actually, and also when I said earlier, you want to bring this piece down. This little silver piece is going to slot into a couple little slots there on the waist. Just slide this down, and it's going to plug right in there. Kind of fold it up too, and so you can see that silver piece is now locked into a couple slots there. And once you have that flipped up, you can actually kind of fold his chest down a little bit to give it a little bit more dynamic than just looking like the front of a car. on the robot. And then you flip these. They're supposed to flip these things up and forward, like that. I'm not entirely sure what the point of that is. I think it looks just fine like that, but if you want to, you can bring it up like that too, and fold them in. You can kind of angle them in like you could on the other toy. His gimmick, he does have his head doesn't really lock into place, so pushing back will kind of make his head go back. But he does have a kind of talking gimmick, like Skids and Mudflap. So aside from pushing a button, you actually just he talks. Gimmick wise, or at least Human Alliance gimmick, or robot gimmicks wise, you can actually fold this up out here. There's a couple little pegs right there, so you can have Frenzy stand behind his head, just kind of cackling madly, like a little imp or something on his shoulders. You can there we go. You can bring this whole arm, fold it down and around like this, fold this piece back up into place like that, flip up this gun right here, and open up the seat, and have Frenzy sit on the seat and supposedly control this gun. He can't actually reach it from there, but I guess the implied effect is that he's manning that gun on his shoulder. Maybe he jacks it in or cybernetically controls it somehow, I don't know, but... And you can also, those pieces I flipped out earlier, you can come under here and flip out these guns. Just like this. They can come up and around the front barricade. And you can also deploy these in vehicle mode to kind of look like he's got those arms coming out the front. That's about what it would look like coming out the front of the vehicle. But they're intended to be open to robot mode. And again, you can open up the chest, and this time you just want to... Instead of transforming him all the way, you just want to take Frenzy and just fold up his legs behind him, and put his arms out in front of him, like that. And you can plug him back into the chest and have it look like he's controlling these guns as well. And you can leave that panel folded up, fold that down, Barricade can still see. Or you can call him Quattro and pretend you're in Total Recall verse, but whatever. So those are the Human Alliance gimmicks, or the Human Defiance, or whatever. The gimmicks that involve Frenzy. Personally, my favorite gimmick involving Frenzy is that he comes with Frenzy, and Frenzy's cool. Which I've said several times already in this review, but all this stuff. So, it's not a bad version of Barricade. It's better than I originally expected. It's not great. It's still not the best of the Human Alliance line. I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more available transformation here in the chest. Because even when you deform this to look a little bit more like the movie, you can still see the gap where Frenzy's supposed to go there a little bit. It's not super obvious, and you can actually hide Frenzy in there. And if you have Frenzy in there, his head's out of the way, so you just see some mechanical detailing, and it looks more like a complete robot. But if you have Frenzy out, you're going to see like a hole in his abdomen if you make it look more movie accurate. And even the original, I know he had giant arms, but it looks like his arm, even here, giant arms are good, but his legs look way too stubby. They look much stubbier than I remember them being on both the original figure and in the movie. I could be wrong on that. It's just, there's something, and it may just be the fact that his arms are sitting so far out from his body that helps give the impression that his legs are stubby. But proportionally, I think some of the proportions are a little off. The design's okay. Like I said, I would have liked to have seen another hand over here in some capacity, but that's kind of the norm for these guys. What else? I think there could have been a little bit more. Like his face, I'm not really sure how I feel about the paint apps on his face. They make him look like he's got this giant goatee as opposed to the other things. As opposed to like how he looked in the movie, he just looks a little bit more. I don't know, just the silver kind of throws it off for me. I just think there's too much silver right here. I think maybe a paint wash or something in there to kind of fill in the cracks with some black would do a huge bit of good for his face. But he's actually a little bit more intricate and involved than I thought originally, and he's fairly decent. Here's a quick comparison to Human Alliance Bumblebee, just to get an idea size-wise. So he's a little shorter than Bumblebee. I would have liked to have seen him again in the movie. I'm pretty sure that Barricade. Alrighty. So it cut the camera cut off on me. My apologies. I'm gonna see if I can actually edit these two together so nobody complains. Car mode wise, they both fit. Scale wise, as I was starting to say before the last video cut off, I would have liked to have. I wish I still had my other Human Alliance Bumblebee I could show off in car mode so I could compare them to both. But I figured the robot mode comparison was more important. But he's a good figure. He's not great. He certainly gained some points for this little Frenzy figure. I really do like this little Frenzy figure. But he's not a bad addition. He's certainly better than Sideswipe, Human Alliance wise. So overall, not the best. He's not bad. He's, like I said, a lot better than Sideswipe. He's probably just a little bit below Bumblebee score-wise for me, because he is a semi-decent representation of the character with a little bit of proportional problems. I think some of the gimmicks that they incorporated work okay. Like this arm cannon, this one doesn't bug me so much. Because it's certainly a mode he can go into, but it's not a gimmick that interferes with like this arm as just as an arm. This one does kind of because he doesn't have the hand, but what can you do? Also, he's voiced by just a little plug here. He was voiced by Jess Harnell in the first movie, who also did the voice of Ironhide. And if you click on the link over there, I'm also going to put a link on the front page, but over there in the video info box is a link to Jess Harnell's band's new video that Mark Ryan sent to me and asked me what I thought about it, and I think it's pretty cool. So go over there and check that out, support Jess Harnell and some of his other stuff. And that's about it. So there you have it, Human Alliance Barricade.